Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and we are so pleased to have in the studio with us today Dr. Alexis Avina. She is the Chief Early Childhood Education Officer for the MAAC project. How you doing, Alexis?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for coming on. How long have you been working with the MAAC project?
I've been with MAAC just over a year. I started in March 2023, and what a year it's been.
Oh, my goodness. This is a whirlwind over here. I'm not sure if this world really happened this year, but we'll get into that. Talk about the mission of the MAAC project.
So MAAC has been rooted in San Diego County since 1965. We're almost 60 years old. We're not new to this work. I'd like to say we're true to it.
Right, exactly. What got you into this work? This is something that's always been a passion of yours?
Yes, I mean, I would say when I was just telling one of your colleagues offline, when I was in college, I got cancer. I was going into my third year, and up to that point, I was a business major. I thought I was going to go make money on Wall Street and make myself the richest person, just like all of my other colleagues.
Plenty of time. You're young. Plenty of time.
Got cancer going into my senior year, and everything changed for me. I decided I'm going to work for people and serve people the rest of my life that are vulnerable, the people that don't have a voice, that were like me, that got cancer from God knows what. So I remember the moment that I was laying in the hospital bed, and I said, if I make it through this, my career has to be different. I can't be working in Wall Street. I have to be serving people. So
then you got your doctor, and you focused on health and all that business. You got your doctorate at USC. Where'd you get the doctor? USC?
Yes.
Okay.
So I got my doctoral degree at USC. Go Trojans.
Very, very good. We're going to be cutting interviews shortly, effective immediately on that. No, it's a great school. And of course, the rival UCLA, both wonderful medical schools. And certainly.
I mean, USC is just slightly better.
Yeah, it is. It is for those who really are, ill-informed, but that's okay. So when you went and then got the job at the MAAC project, what were you doing before? Were you in the same space?
So I'd always been in public health and public education. So after Cornell, fast forward, I worked in cancer research. Before that, I worked at the County of San Diego overseeing public health prevention. Live Well San Diego was a big project that I worked on for a couple of years with the former agency director, Nick Mascione. And then after that, I went back into the nonprofit. So the nonprofit after my cancer was where I started. So right after graduation, I worked for the American Cancer Society. I started volunteering.
Locally?
No, in New York.
Okay.
That's where I was at in school. And so I championed a Relay for Life event. So I did a Relay for Life event on my campus to raise awareness money. Started a campaign for Daffodil Days. I don't know if you are familiar with that.
Absolutely.
You basically you get daffodils and you deliver them to cancer patients all across different hospitals. And so after COVID, I left the government and wanted to come back into this space of nonprofit where you're really working with people, for people. And when you work for the government, it's like moving an ocean liner. Things move very slowly, a lot of bureaucracy and red tape. And I hope I don't offend anyone by saying that, but in the old world, in the old government, we would work slower. And so I wanted to go back into nonprofit because you really can connect with people. You can see the impact on the faces that you are creating new programs with and uplifting families. It's real and tangible.
Right. And measurable. I mean, and
Absolutely.
I know that's something that's important to you, especially on your background in that area. You talk about the importance of Head Start.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know where to begin. So Head Start is a program that is not just about shaping curriculum. We are offering warm meals to children, diapers. We're providing workforce development training to families. We are uplifting entire communities out of poverty. And I say that because I have teachers in my programs, former students. I have staff on my leadership team, former Head Start recipients. I go out into the community and I meet people all the time who say either they were directly impacted by Head Start, they themselves their parents, and they're out in, at USC in my doctoral program. Two of my leadership team
Right.
are directors now. It's a program that's working to shift and uplift communities overall. It's such a profound program.
Yeah, and we talk about this quite a bit on the show, Alexis, that it's not just one person you're helping. It's
Mhm.
the little, areas, tentacles as we call them,
Mhm.
of that one person that now has an impact on his or her sister, aunts, uncles, siblings, and all that
Mhm.
business, and it just absolutely multiplies. Threefold, tenfold, and all that business. San Diego, as you know, is not the most inexpensive place to live.
Oh no.
So, talk about how that is a little bit of a challenge in this area as well.
So San Diego has an extremely high cost of living. It's one of the most expensive
Right,
cities in the nation, and so um, by having programs like these, we're able to offer free, comprehensive wraparound services for our families that are the lowest income earners in the region. So anyone that is 100% at poverty level or greater. So that's $45,000 a year for
right.
a family of four. If they're earning that much money, we're offering free child care, child development services. We're making referrals for healthcare, for mental health services. So if children are autistic or experiencing behavior problems, we are offering those recommendations, those referrals to specialists, which would otherwise not be available. And so it's just such a powerful program, and it really is helping those families that are not making a lot of money. They're interested in putting food on the table. We're helping them learn how to parent at the same time as we're giving their children developmental opportunities.
Yeah, and we know we talk quite a bit about food insecurity on this show,
Hmm.
and yeah, obviously, folks work with a food bank or
Hmm.
feeding San Diego and all that business. If you're a kid and you're hungry, you're not going to be doing too much learning
Hmm.
in that area, as well. We're chatting with Dr. Alexis Avina. She is the Chief Early Childhood Education Officer for the MAAC Project. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast. We're now in our 19th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things in San Diego County, from food insecurity to art to financial literacy and everything in between. Talk a little bit about something you brought up. Um, Certainly, where crisis proportions of this is mental health
Hmm.
and the state of mental health
Hmm.
at all ages in our world, but especially with young kids.
Hmm.
Talk about how critical it is to make sure that we are addressing that need.
So it's an interesting time to think about mental health and the children we're serving right now. We're serving children who experienced their COVID babies. So the oldest of this cohort is 5. They're in our programs right now. And they grew up in a generation that experienced a lot of lapse in communication, networking, socialization. And so mental health and behavioral health feels like it's more critical right now than it has been in decades. I've had teachers say that the behavioral problems and the mental health needs right now with their 5-year-olds and 4-year-olds are greater. We're seeing hitting, biting, tantrums, children that aren't potty training the same. And we want to point to what we're finding in the research, which is by not socializing with other children because of COVID, we are seeing some opportunities now that we didn't see. And now it's more important than ever to provide the resources, the support, the coaching to parents, even the coaching to teachers. We went through this very traumatic issue, COVID, as a nation, where we were worried about our health and safety. We were worried about surviving. And so now we're looking at how to help with mental health, especially. Mental health has always been a critical area and a critical opportunity, but now more than ever, those children are about to go into kindergarten. And so it's just really critical that we provide resources. And I think so we have been leaning in, we have been providing trainings, professional development. And what's nice about Head Start and many other child development programs is that we work with parents. We come up with behavioral plans. We have consultants that we refer out to when there's documentation or other needs that we cannot provide in house. And I think, I'm a parent of a 5 and a 2-year-old, and I can speak from my own personal experience. It's really important that what I'm doing at home is reinforced at school and vice versa. What's happening in school, I can reinforce at home. So if I know that my child is doing something they shouldn't be doing, biting
Right.
or whatever, I know how to handle that at home or to work with them, because a child spends 20% of their time at school, the other 80% with their parents and caregivers. So it's important that you're on the same page. And so Head Start does have curriculum in place to train parents and to train teachers. We do things that like conscious discipline or a pyramid where we essentially help parents collect themselves before they then address the issue at hand. I don't know if you have kids or remember when they were little, but tantrums are tough. Sometimes they're triggering for parents.
Yeah. So my daughter's a fourth grade teacher
Oh.
at Chaparral Elementary in the Poway School District.
Mhm.
And Sammy, bless her heart, 30 years old. And she sort of laughs at this now. She was the 2-year-old that would stay in the car seat and would be running around everywhere. And I said, yeah, when you have a kid, I hope that a little bit is you're going to get what you were. And she just laughs about it. But you're absolutely right. And, I think because of, my background, grew up in a medical doctor's family and certainly was around good teachers and all that, you learn to take a step back, and this is what you need to do. And I think it's so important with the things that you're offering. When we come back from break, I want to talk about how important it is to make sure that Head Start is sustained. There's been a lot in the news about what's going on. And anybody who has been touched by Head Start was going to be the biggest advocate in the history of the world, even if you don't have a Head Start kid, on what it's done. So let's talk about that as well. And then anything that you have, if you have events coming up, if you have seminars coming up, if you have whatever come up, share that as well. And what I'd like to do before we go to break is think about this as well. Definitely want to have you come back on the show down the road, and not to break any, HIPAA rules or anything like that, but would love to have you bring in somebody who is families that have benefited from Head Start. I mean, there could probably have 4,000 of them come in as well, because that's the street fed, cred, I should say, that you folks have been doing for now 60 years. We're going to be back with Dr. Alexis Avina, Chief Early Childhood Education Officer for the MAAC Project. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. We will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We're the nation's longest-running community podcast, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things for people living in San Diego County. So honored to have in the studio with us today Dr. Alexis Avina. She is the Chief Early Childhood Education Officer for the MAAC Project. 60 years of just doing great things in this community, uplifting families in need and so forth, with a variety of services and programs and so forth, especially with the iconic Head Start program. But there's some, maybe some storm clouds that are brewing with Head Start. Talk about that.
So this year's been a little bit rocky for us. In a typical year, right now we're planning for our next school year. We're putting numbers out there. We're planning our calendar. We have our budget already approved to receive funding. We know where we're going, and typically it's smooth sailing, except for the regular stuff that happens in a school.
You mean like life, right? Exactly.
Like life and
Right.
activities. But right now, everything we're hearing is that there is no guarantee for funding past 2025. And, that's not just a budget line item. That is classrooms closed potentially. That is jobs impacted for parents that won't have childcare, futures. Those are all hanging in the balance. And it's just devastating for us to not know. There's a certain level of uncertainty. So I think it's concerning.
Well, it's inexcusable. I'll just say that myself. We're pretty apolitical on this show.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to supporting a program that has had success for so long
Mm-hmm.
and the impact that's going to have on these families who pretty much at razor's edge anyway,
Mm-hmm.
Even with Head Start. What can our listeners do? Should they be contacting our Congress folks like Scott Peters and so forth, or state senators? I think it's more of a Fed deal than it is
Fed.
anything else, right? So get a hold of our 5 Congress people in this region and say something, correct?
Yes, absolutely. So Head Start is funded 100% by the federal government.
Right.
So that's our federal Congress people.
Right.
And so it's a delicate line for me to say, go and do this because, that's my funder. But I would
Right.
say there are organizations out there helping to advocate. The National Head Start NHSA.org. They are collecting interested names of people. They're sending those directly to Congress people. So I would say contact your local Congress people, contact the president or the administration, and share the impact and share the power of Head Start. Like I was saying before, we've been a trusted Head Start provider for decades,
Right.
and yet we're operating without long-term stability. Imagine running a school, hiring staff, enrolling families, and not knowing if you'll be standing.
Right.
It's just a critical moment.
How many Head Start programs are around the country? Thousands, I imagine?
I think about 800,000 children.
Wow.
I know in San Diego, we have 6,000. So MAAC operates or has about 1,200 slots.
Right.
So we operate over 43 centers. And so we are the footprint of North County. But we also have a couple of centers in South Bay as well. But
Right.
we're everywhere that the community has expressed a need for us to be.
Right. No, that's that sounds good. So besides now contacting your local congressperson, what else can our listeners do to support your efforts?
I would say write letters. I'd say write letters, call. I don't know that there's a fundraising capacity or volunteering. I mean, I think just meeting with your congresspeople, calling or emailing.
Right, exactly. Can donations, people donate, volunteer? Yes, no?
I would say NHSA is the one collecting anything to that level, not MAAC. But if people would like to donate to MAAC in general, it does support
I mean, there are a million
efforts.
programs.
Yeah.
You have a lot of great
Absolutely.
programs that are going on in this area as well. And do you work with a lot of the schools that you work with? Is it all pretty much in San Diego City, or is it throughout the whole county?
So we're across the whole county. We're from Oceanside to San Isidro, and we partner with the other Head Start organizations. We're all like companions, partners in the work that we do. MAAC itself is a program that serves housing, health, well-being, economic development, advocacy, and education. And so whatever we're bringing to our Head Start families, we're also bringing all of our MAAC programming to our Head Start families.
Right.
So we're really providing comprehensive services.
Right. So you're an expert, obviously, in early childhood education. Talk about how critical that is to get in front of these kids, TK, pre-TK, if that's even an answer over there, how important that is.
I think investing in our youngest learners is one of the most powerful ways to build a more just, joyful, equitable future. It's not just about blocks and toys. We're really play is the work of a child. And so by investing in our children, we're really creating economic stability for the next generation of our workforce and our community at large. Having an uneducated workforce of tomorrow is not going to benefit any of our communities in San Diego or otherwise.
Right, exactly. And, listen, you're setting the tone. One of the groups that I work with pretty closely is the Classroom of the Future Foundation, which is all about pathways and in college if you choose to go to college and so forth. But heaven forbid we actually want to listen to the students and focus on what they're interested in. What a concept that is, for God's sake. A little bit different than when I was going to school when there was barely running water, for God's sake. But, I think now, and I'm sure some of those things you're doing at Head Start as well, getting kids to start think about possibly what they want to do down the road, correct?
Oh, yeah. We have all sorts of opportunities for them to connect with other community leaders and learn about all sorts of different avenues of work and life. The programming is just incredible. I think every day that I walk into a classroom, I get goosebumps. I'm inspired. I'm so inspired every day by our teachers, the training, the heart, everything that they bring to the table, which is their whole selves every day. And this is not easy work. They're down on their knees. Sometimes dealing with many children at once. Like I said, if you have 2 kids, imagine having 12 in front of you all day. It's hard work, and they bring their heart and soul. And it's not just them that are counting on us; it's their families. Sometimes the meal that they get at Head Start is the only hot meal that they get in the day, and so. It's a beautiful mission. It's beautiful work that we're doing. We're really, I think, if you care about working families, if you care about public education, this is your fight too. Programs like Head Start, we're not a luxury, we're a lifeline.
Absolutely. We're chatting with Dr. Alexis Avina. He is the Chief Early Childhood Education Officer for the MAAC Project. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast. We're now in our 19th year, brought to you by Mission Fed, a credit union doing great things for 6 decades in San Diego County. We talked about earlier that your absolutely love for the San Diego Padres. We're coming up right after you are 2 iconic folks that were the president of the Padres and were instrumental in bringing the first World Series to the Padres and that aspect of it. We won't tell them that I grew up a Dodger fan, so maybe they're not listening to this aspect of it all. So in that area, do you work with some of the pro teams? You work with the Padres? Do you work with...
We don't at this time. However, we did have a lovely donation from the Padres to one of our Head Start parents this past week. On Saturday, we were able to donate 4 tickets to a Head Start single-parent father.
Nice. He
brought his daughter and family. They had beautiful, lovely seats, and he took a photo. He said he cried when he got to the seats. He said, I haven't been to a Padre game. I'm a huge Padre fan, and I haven't been to a game in years because of the cost. He's a single parent. His wife was deported to Mexico. So he's raising his daughter, 4-year-old, on his own, and he struggles financially. And so it was his birthday Sunday, so he was sharing with tears in his eyes how grateful he was. And then he said the fireworks were just the cherry on top because seeing fireworks and with his daughter and to have these beautiful tickets, he was so grateful. So that the extent is when we have donations here and there. But I'm a big Padres fan. I'll just put that on the table. I went to the games, Jack Murphy Stadium, and when Tony Gwynn was there, I mean, I'm just a huge fan. Not at all a fan of the Dodgers.
Yes, I understand that. But that's okay. We're all in one big baseball family anyway. So, Alexis, thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to look forward to a return appearance and maybe with some people that have benefited from Head Start down the road as well. And can't thank you enough for giving up some of your time. I know you have a warp speed schedule. And listen, if you folks are interested in making sure that you support Head Start and moving forward, go to the MAAC Project website. Contact your local congressman. It's too important of a program to give up. It's been a delight chatting with you, and I'll look forward to when you come back on the show.
Thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. My pleasure, Dr. Alexis Avina, Chief Early Childhood Education Officer for the MAAC Project. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. We hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.